doing what they were doing.
No. Again, we were misled that there was supposedly protests and then something sprang out of that, an assault sprang out of that. And that was easily ascertained that was not the fact. And the American people could have known that within days, and they didn't know that.
With all due respect, the fact is we had 4 dead Americans. Was it because of a protest, or was it because of guys out for a walk one night who decided they'd go kill some Americans? What difference at this point does it make? It is our job to figure out what happened and do everything we can to prevent it from ever happening again, Senator.
It is Wednesday, January 23rd, 2013. Welcome to WSJ Lunch Break. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton offering an unwavering defense this morning for the Obama administration's response to last year's assaults on U.S. government posts in Benghazi, Libya. We're going right now to Jay Solomon in Washington, D.C. for analysis on her testimony. Welcome, Jay. Some fireworks this morning. We were just listening to them. What struck you most about Secretary Clinton's demeanor during the testimony? She was quite emotional at one point.
Yeah, she was quite. I mean, she started crying at one point when she was describing, greeting the bodies and the families of those who died. And as you just showed, she had a very sort of contentious standoff with Senator Johnson. It was an interesting, appearance, interesting testimony, because today is probably her last, appearance before the Congress as Secretary of State, and it did have a feeling of her, really working to sort of preserve her legacy, which had been, she's had a very strong legacy as Secretary of State. The Libya incident in the last months of her job has appeared as the one thing that sort of tarnishes it.
She will also appear before the House and give sort of similar testimony this afternoon. For people watching this who say she is, of course, leaving this post of Secretary of State at this point and wondering what the point of this is, Jay, just sort of elucidate on that for us.
Well, after the attacks, the issue of Benghazi, of whether the administration was lax or not being clear, became one of the, a huge issue, because it was going in straight into the election cycle, and the administration was regularly attacked by the Republicans for, not giving the clear information. They didn't initially describe it as a terrorist attack. So today's testimony, these hearings were very much kind of a legacy of the politics surrounding the attacks of the November election. Secretary Clinton had not sort of taken much of a front row in response or describing the State Department's response to the attack, why it didn't have more security there when there were clear signs that there was terrorism threats in that part of Libya. So it really, this was kind of a legacy of that, and she had these health issues over the past couple of months, which again continued to deny her the ability to testify. And Republicans were basically saying, we're not going to confirm your successor, Senator John Kerry, until you get up here and testify. So this was, this was her sort of last big appearance before the Congress, and it was something that sort of had to happen before Senator Kerry could get his confirmation hearing going.
Now, a lot of people tuning in with great interest, of course, because of the discussion behind the scenes about Secretary of State Hillary Clinton possibly being a contender in 2016 for the presidential nomination of the Democratic Party. I wonder how much some of the senators who probably would not support her were trying to sort of set her up possibly for failure in that context. You listen to Rand Paul. He's saying, lives could have been saved if someone was more on top of the job. This was a failure of leadership. He continually said, this was the worst tragedy since 9/11, repeating that soundbite. I'm wondering sort of how you view that in the context of Clinton possibly being a candidate.
Yeah, he also said she should have been fired. So yeah, I think there was, there's this sense that if she decides to, even though she's repeatedly said she won't do it, she could emerge as the top candidate in 2016. And her tenure as Secretary of State really has been widely praised, by both Republicans and Democrats, and you saw that today. But the Libya issue has kind of emerged as the one issue that she's vulnerable on. And like you said, you could see Senator Johnson, Ron Paul, even John McCain to some extent try to take a few shots at her on the way out. And you could see this issue being set up as something they'll focus on if she does run in 2016.
All right, Jay Solomon, thanks so much for that. Again, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton will testify again before the House at 2 p.m. We'll carry that for you on WSJ.com.